I extend warm greetings to the representatives at this blended forum on behalf of the executive of the St. Lucia National Youth Council and its membership, the young people of this fair Helen. The Global Environment Fund Small Grants Program has displayed great resilience by adapting and remodeling this initiative to satisfy national COVID-19 protocols despite major restrictions, and for that I commend them. I stand here today to add to the voices of thousands of young St. Lucians who yearn for a country that will increase investments into the intellectual capacity of its people, particularly the youth. During a dialogue hosted by the United Nations Eastern Caribbean Office on International Youth Day this year, I made a plea for increased investments in the intellectual capacities and skill sets of young people. I then boldly went on to say, with the advent of e-learning, I am hopeful that education can be more affordable for our young people. As cliché as the echo appears to our ears, sound knowledge is indeed power, and my Barbadian colleague, Mr. Chad Monaville, who sat on that same panel with me, unequivocally stated, and I quote, "The Caribbean is home to very well-educated people. Once we can have certified programs that allow persons to have knowledge transferred right across the world, we can increase revenue streams to boost our economies. Certainly, we would not be in our current position if we moved to a knowledge-based economy." Ladies and gentlemen, an investment in research is also direct investment in the knowledge and culture of our people. As the theme suggests, we must strive to inform, educate, and motivate the citizenry to aspire to sustainable futures with awareness on climate change, climate variability, and growing socioeconomic inequalities. One of the ways we intend to achieve this as a multi-stakeholder forum is through the introduction of research and innovation across multiple sectors, from the backyard garden to Parliament and beyond. However, how do we expect to achieve these objectives if the very people we are trying to engage are not equally educated and are unfamiliar with the jargon that we so eloquently articulate? How do we expect to inculcate research into our way of life if we have policymakers debating bills right here in this very honorable chamber without first having dialogues and research-driven consultation with the constituents on the genesis of their findings and the implications to citizens today and many generations later? How do we expect the lesser educated caller to the local social commentary show to understand how the $10 million mentioned in the budget is spent if we don't further explain to them that allocations in the annual debate of revenue and expenditure are broad estimates that more or less may not match actual government expenditure? As minor as this may seem, it is the correction of these malpractices that will spur research and innovation that can develop culture, enhance national pride, and promote participatory and inclusive democratic processes. The year 2020 signaled a decade left in which members of the United Nations must achieve the 2030 United Nations Sustainable Development Agenda. With the commencement of this decade came the exacerbation of the issues which the SDGs seek to address, catalyzed by the ramifications of COVID-19. Hence, we are presented with a golden opportunity to aggressively address the developmental gaps through substantial research mechanisms and innovative and sustainable practices. I want to join Dr. Oje in applauding the likes of Mrs. Delia Fossois, who have taken on the mandate to pursue an alien yet very important culture of having access to books through bookstores and cafes. In the last few months, we noticed the national organization conducting a number of fundraising activities in an effort to raise a few $1,000s to finance a digital library after its former home was engulfed in flames some years ago. The need for the coordination of fundraisers to finance this virtual library, in my belief, is indicative of the lack of importance of the conservation of teaching of our history and lack of appreciation of research by our cultural icons and historians. How often do we measure the significance of our national archives in its current form? We are realizing daily the quick manifestation of the digital revolution, yet our actions are not up to par or in sync with this new era that is upon us. Policymakers, leaders, young people, it is our future, and this is our time to confront the reality of a changing climate and the need to alter our livelihoods, our practices, and our mode of governance to keep St. Lucia ahead of the curve in sustainable development for small island developing states. To get there, we must make the early investments into quantitative and qualitative research, cultivate innovation, and propel resilient mindsets. While we are asked to share our views on what organizations like the St. Lucia National Youth Council can do to infuse research and innovation in all aspects of sustainable development, it is critical to recognize that no one individual or grouping can effectively achieve this in isolation. I believe that it is for this very reason the 17th United Nations Sustainable Development Goal focuses on partnership for the goals. May I suggest 3 of many solutions? 1. Practice environmental auditing in schools, such as what was piloted in our Jeff-funded project in 2018, which focused on garbage segregation, electricity, and water conservation. Number 2, grant-funded research projects into investigations on local medicines to promote health tourism and advance economic diversification efforts. And thirdly, coordinated interventions with community-based organizations like the National Youth Council district branches to pilot conservative practices such as rainwater harvesting and backyard gardening to reduce the demand on potable water supply to rural communities and encourage food security and organic farming. In terms of variability, it also means that we must continue to create or work towards educating or creating careers that are aligned with the new reality that we are faced with. Encourage young people to further studies in climate change, sustainable development, and other research and innovative centric and region-specific fields of study. This will assure us that we have St. Lucians equipped within every aspect of our sector to ensure the implementation of sustainable practices in the public and private sectors. With this backdrop, I wish to highlight and commend St. Lucia's youth innovators. Although Dr. Fletcher mentioned a few earlier, I just want to add the Junior Achievement Young Leaders winners and participants over the years, Keegan Patrick, Shagon Rosary, and Divi Frederick from Optronics, who are working towards creating an indelible impact in the field of robotics and artificial intelligence. And there are so much untapped, innovative young talents in the area of arts and culture, ranging from comedy to singing, dancing, sculpting, and the list goes on and on. COVID is a stark reminder of the need for cooperation across borders, sectors, and generations. We must utilize the passion, creativity, innovation, and education and talents of young people at every policy level, including in this very chamber when Parliament is in session, to play an active role in devising sustainable solutions in the development of our country. I wish to end by calling on young people to take advantage of the knowledge presented during this fair and the availability of funding to support your innovative ideas when that time comes. Thank you.